So why do entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs? Well, they don't want to be put in a box. They want to go do their own thing. Nobody becomes an entrepreneur because their system is better than your system per se. It's that their system is their system. That's why they become entrepreneurs. And he said, eventually, if your strategy is to take people that are entrepreneurs, they can do whatever they want, however they want, whenever they want, fail how they want, win how they want, and put them in a box where they can't update the system, where they can't decide to go to a different fulfillment, if they can't do X, Y, and Z, they will eventually be so frustrated in this little jail cell that you've got them in. And it doesn't matter how much they win, because that's not why they want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, welcome everyone. I have a really exciting week, and we have JC Hite with us. JC Hite is the founder of Hite Digital International. It's one of the fastest growing agencies in the US. What you'll find when we're talking with JC is his integrity as well as his heart is significant, which allowed him to grow this platform. He's not only scaled to 16 offices in the US and Latin American in his first year, but also created the disruptive models. And so we're going to be able to dig into his model. Part of it evolved from a franchise model, and I'm going to say it's uniquely a JC Hite model now, and it's Hite Digital model. So excited to jump in, and let's just jump into it. First of all, welcome.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to have the chat. Love what you're doing and the work, and it's excited to be here.
So let's start with this. Tell me about Hite Digital.
Yeah. We're a good old agency, right? We started our company about 7 years ago and had, like a lot of companies, we focused on the top line, probably more than we should have. We should have focused a little bit more on EBITDA, and we grew fast. We grew really fast. There was a couple of things that helped us get there, but a lot of it, and it's learning from people like you that I think helped us get there, is really focusing on the strategy. Like, how do we get there? And so we grew to, I think, at our peak, we had 180 team members, give or take, with managing, millions and millions in revenue, 500 clients. And all of that, by the way, Tom, we had one salesperson on the entire team. And so, but it had to do with our systems, our strategy, how we built the company, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great road. And so throughout the history, we've had about 3 different business models, but the day-to-day has very much been consistent, and we can chat through all that.
I want to dive into the 3 evolutions of your business model, but and that is how you're growing and how you're franchising / acquiring / launching agencies underneath the platform. But let's just take a step back. Let's talk about your delivery mechanism. And I'm curious, it's evolved since our conversation of over a year ago, which fascinated me as far as your back office and how you're providing services. So can you tell me about the service model and the type of service you do that and how you deliver it?
I think we started there, and that was a big competitive advantage for us, is that a lot of agencies are started because they're great salespeople. They kind of like marketing a little bit. We started on the fulfillment side. So we could talk throughout the podcast. I'll point out things that gave me a ridiculous advantage over my competitors. And one is I went to work with and bought ownership into an agency that we grew to about 350 employees. And when I left that agency, I went and I knew exactly what I was looking for, right? And so many of us haven't went and actually worked for a big agency. So I went and worked for one, took on equity, helped grow it, which gave me this format. So we started off 100% focusing on the product side. I brought in all of my guys, had 4, 5, 6, 7 years of experience, depending on who they were. We built in Salesforce from day one. Hello. My wife was a Salesforce administrator, so we built the best processes we could possibly find. And that was unique and different. Everybody was working on their sales pitch, and I was over here just trying to be the best product guy in the world. And so we actually started Hite as a white label company, which is amazing. It helped us get out there. It helped us grow and scale. But the margins suck with white label. And the reality is, most of the time when you're working with white label, you're working with agencies that are tiny, little bitty agencies that are, can't afford to work. And then we switched over to the franchise model. And now we switched more into direct consumer and acquiring back some of our franchises. And so
let me take a step back and just talk to me about your back end. Where's your team on your back end that's doing the fulfillment?
So all of our back end is in Nicaragua specifically. We've expanded in a few more countries, but this was huge. Most people go to Latin America because they think cheap labor. And there's a huge opportunity here for people. So they're going, if your mindset is I want to go there because of cheap labor, then that's the indicator that you're going by, right? So a lot of people go in, okay, how cheap can I get an account manager? People ask me all the time, man, how expensive would it be for me to find a pay-per-click? And really what they're wanting is the cheapest possible solution. That wasn't me. I just so happened to live in LATAM, Tom. So I was doing the same thing most businesses do in the US, which if you talk to someone here in Arkansas, which is where I'm at today, and you said, hey, you're looking to hire someone, and what are you looking for? They're going to start describing the best people they could possibly find, not the cheapest people they could possibly find. And so in LATAM, we were looking for the best of the best. It just so happened that I was hiring someone really, really, really good for probably about the same price you were hiring a beginner in the US, right? And so this gave me this like big advantage because I was willing to pay $2,000 or $3,000 a month for an account manager, where most people are looking in LATAM for you know what a $3,000 account manager is going to get you in LATAM? I mean, someone hella good, right? So we started building up our entire team in LATAM. We actually went fully remote about a year and a half ago, well into after COVID. About a year and a half ago, we went fully remote. But until then, we had a big office. We were the tallest building in all of Nicaragua. We had a full-time chef inside our office with a full-on kitchen. We had just beautiful, luxuries and all kinds of, good stuff, right? So, but we've built the entire fulfillment system in Latin America.
Okay, now how big is your team now in your back-end team now?
Got about 120, give or take, on the back end.
On the back end team. And is it still in Nicaragua as far as where your team is primarily?
Almost all. Yeah. When we went remote, Tom, again, we had all the systems and processes. I mean, really, really nailed down. We have started hiring more people in Spain, Venezuela, Colombia, a few other countries throughout LATAM. But I would still say that 90% of our team is in Nicaragua.
Okay. And so if we have time, I'm just teasing this out there, I want to go back and talk about the whole concept of how you maintain the culture and how you train. But and we'll get into it because when you have an in-house team, you can develop junior people, train them, culture, processes. Remote, it's a little more challenging. If you're in the same geographic area, then there are things you can do. Once you start spreading out, you get to have all the challenges that the rest of us have, which is kind of interesting, which is a secret sauce that you had when you were there and you were living there. But I want to come back to that. And let me ask you one question first. And if I get in a sense of areas, let me know. You said you started working, you had equity in an agency that had 3 employees, top notch, growing. And it was where you learned your foundation of how to develop great product and have high standard and high expectations. When you left, did you sell? Did you just leave your equity to start this, or why did you leave?
Deep question. Yeah. So it was an interesting time for us. So that organization was ridiculously fun. We had 3 major owners. I was a minor owner, no real control in the business. And the other 3 were not people of faith at all. Our business was built what you would think 5 young men in their 20s with stupid money would build. Google would come in. I mean, our kickback from Google, Tom, was $1 million a quarter. All right, just to give you an idea. Like, we were doing stupid stuff. From beer Fridays to every type of drug you can imagine to and if you know me a little bit now, so I'm not part of this stuff, but our top sales guy every week, they got strippers paid by the company. Right. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I was on the sales board. This is what you got type of thing. Right. And my wife and I kind of had this position as salt of the world, light in the darkness. Everyone knew who we were and what we were about. And I was probably going to be the CEO pretty quick. And I was already leading, a big chunk of the company. My wife was leading a big chunk. And And I mean, like, dude, but it was great. Like, Google would come in for a weekend and there wouldn't be a big enough party in the country. And so we would literally get a private jet and go to Panama, the country, to like, it was bigger parties there, right? Like, just stupid stuff. Wolf of Wall Street had nothing on us. And we were 3 months away from having our first daughter, and we just got super convicted by like, no, we're not. Like, we're literally hiring like 10 to 15 people into this and teaching them that this is how businesses ran. And there's so many great things about the organization. I mean, it was fun. It was ridiculous fun. But every single C-suite was having affairs. They were all, it wasn't the environment that I felt being in. So 2 months away from it being 2 months away from us having our first child, my wife and I got super convicted. And the ownership was already having a lot of, one guy had cheated on with the other guy's wife. And like, it was a mess. And we just said, hey guys, this isn't for us. So there's a few ways we can sell, or you can waive our non-compete and we can walk away. And they waived our non-compete. And within 7 months, we realized that what we were selling and, to team members, and I think this is, if we go back to the culture later, it's really important to understand like different parts of the world have different cultural, desires, right? And so I'm from the South, Arkansas. And so the way we live and operate, family centric, even if you're not a faith-based guy, it's very like, faith-based values are running through, very different than the other owners that were from, Denmark, that is, not religion at all, so again, great people. I'm not trying to knock them. It was just different. And so we had this competitive advantage coming in. So that's why I left. We left with no money in the bank, no equity. Looking back, it was stupid, Tom, what we did. To be frank, but it worked out for us.
Something in life, I believe that sometimes we do things that other people would view as not logical. But the challenge, the thing is that we have one life to live. Every chapter in my life is 5 years, and we might make it epic. And sometimes we take massive leaps of faith, just like you. It's that I had my first job out of college, and it was older because it was after the military. So I was 35 at that time, first kid coming along, and I was being promoted very fast at AT&T, and my wife, we found out she was pregnant, and I went, I hate what I'm doing. I don't care how well I'm doing. I can't do this. And I turned to Pam. I said, Pam, I'm going to quit my job, and I have 6 months to be able to get up to cover your income and my income. Are you game? And I don't know what I would have done. And she said, no, baby. And she said, I believe in you. Let's take the leap of faith and go for it. And taking this massive leap of faith is really important. And people that feel that they have, what people don't understand when they say they have no choice, they have no options, you always do. And you always figure it out no matter what. You figure it out no matter what is on the way. So, okay. So, amazing. You take the leap of the faith. You started the business. You started Hite, and you started with, and where were you living then? When did you move to Nicaragua? Was it right away, or?
We were already living there.
You were already living there. Okay, great. So therefore you were able to figure out how do you start with your first clients? Did you buy your first agency? How did that work? Where did you start?
I just started going online, getting in every group and adding as much value as possible. And I was positioning myself as, I don't want to sell. I don't enjoy sales. We're just the best at products we possibly can. And I recruited from agencies. I didn't train. My first 100 people, I didn't train. I was depending on, I wanted to recruit from other places, which is oddly enough something we don't do in our world. Like in the agency space, we post a job and look for people to apply. But in other sectors of the world, like they go after people at specific places that they know are thriving, in a big way.
Right. And so therefore, that's where you did it. You went on, get clients, white label service. And by the way, it's very, very smart because, it's a low margin business. But to start with is you're having outside companies are paying you to build your infrastructure and your team. So, and I know a number of white label agencies that have figured it out and are making strong revenue and profit. and some are international. I know of a couple strong ones in India that actually have that model. We've had some sponsors at our events that are white label. However, using this as a platform, and we always thinking of what's next in your strategy, using it as a platform to get your next level. And even though it might not have been your initial goal to, let's build a white label and we're going to build a team and infrastructure and processes and we'll have it baked in when we go to the next level. So how did it happen, the next chapter where you said, okay, we're going to change the model, and how did that inspiration and what was it?
Yeah, I was on the call with a gentleman who was a franchise consultant, and I just happened to be on a call with him one day, and I was talking to him about our white label model and just how, man, we provide all the fulfillment, we do all this type of stuff, and what we find is that because we were so large, we work with so many agencies that we try to consult with them a lot. We help them with their systems, and we build it out, and we do that. And he's like, his mind, of course, he's coming from the franchise world, so like different people from different worlds just see things completely. And he's like, "You're a franchise," and I'm like, "No, it's white label." He's like, "You're a franchise," and I was immediately my mind went to McDonald's and all this stuff, right? And so he started going down a path which got me really curious. And so I just started digging in, like, what does this model look like? What are the benefits? And I will tell you this time, we had 105 white label partners, and we were doing, let's just say, 3 million in revenue. The moment we decided to go down the franchise path, which worked stupid well, I'm going to tell you all about that, but stupid well, and then stupid wrong, and everything in between. But we went from 105 white label partners to 17 franchises doing the exact same amount of revenue. Like, think about that. I mean, 105 white label partners, they could come and go kind of as they wanted to. We're all using to 17 strong franchises that paid 50 grand to become franchises, by the way. And, these other systems, which we can talk about, same amount of revenue. That's a good move for me, right? When we simplify things, yet go increase revenue.
And then talk to me about the franchise as far as what did they have to do? Did they have to change? So basically, they took their agency and they became Hite Digital, and then Hite, and then they had exclusivity in that territory. How'd that work?
No, so the idea was we would do all the fulfillment. So my pitch was this, I'd come in, I go, owner, what do you really want to do? What do you not want to do? And most owners in our world, man, I want sales. I want to be a part of the brand. Man, I don't like the operations. I don't like the fulfillment. In fact, that's their first big hire normally, is just get rid of all that stuff. So I was like, look, we already have all the systems. We have all the technology. We're fully built on Salesforce. We've got a brand. We're at events. We're an Inc. 5000, business. We have these other awards. Like, what if you just tagged on to us? You still own 100% of your business. And let's be honest, yeah, we're going to put you in a box, but everything that you want to do, we're already doing, right? You want to get someone else to do it. Well, we already do it. You don't want to build the systems. We already have them. You don't care, and, we had our pitch, right, in our system. It was $50,000 to come in. There was a shared marketing budget. Everyone pitched in $1,500 that went to growing the business, and we did the fulfillment. But what it did was, for me, one of the good things is in business, and I think agencies do this more than most industries, is that we'll go in, we'll hire a product company, something won't work, so it's therefore their fault, and we quit and we go somewhere else. And then you just see this rotation. The reality is that whenever you partner with anyone, it's going to be tough. Like, you got to have both two people, just like a marriage, right? My husband and wife, we fight all the time. Both people have to want to figure it out and solve it. If both people are willing to do it, we can overcome anything. Franchising, we were locked into a 5-year agreement, which means we had to figure out our problems. When there was an issue, we had to figure it out. We had to go in and diagnose it and what's really working better and all this good stuff. Compare that to a white label where so often, no, they just sucked. We're moving on. We're leaving.
That's it. It's in a hamster wheel there. So with getting new ones, losing, especially when you have 105 clients on that. So let me ask you this, the model, Rev-Share, what percent Rev? So obviously they had a licensing fee, Rev-Share. How did that work?
So it's a $50,000 franchise fee, 8% royalty, $1,500 marketing fee, and a $500 technology fee. Now, the cool thing about this, and you know this, if you're going to grow your agency, how much are you going to spend on tech? A lot more than $500. So we're going to save you some money there. All right, what are you going to spend on marketing? Well, probably more than you spend on your tech alone. So, we kind of said, hey, that's a wash, right? And then your real fee there is the 8% royalty, which, man, if I can't help you sell 8% more with all this support and systems and tech, then that's crazy. We should be able to increase your revenue by 8%. And then you have to justify the 50 grand, right? But we sold 23 in total over the course of a 24-month period. So that alone was $1 million in revenue.
But they still had to pay for the services, right?
Yeah. So they had to pay for the fulfillment just like anyone else would have to pay for fulfillment, right?
And then was there a margin on that, or was that break even?
Yeah. So it was essentially like white label pricing. So, they would pay fulfillment $6.99 for SEO, but they would charge $1,500. They would pay, so on and so forth.
Right. I totally understand there. So it's cranking. And then you started. How did you recruit new franchise? We're about to get into the next model, but how did you recruit new franchisees?
So we did events. So we started the Commitment Summit right off the bat, luxury event for agency owners. We still run it to today. And that was probably a big thing for us. And then everything else was self-recruiting. Our franchises out of the 23 franchises. Well, think about it like this. Most people learn and grow off of coaching programs. If you go out and actually talk to some of the coaches, they will never tell you this. I'm friends with all of them. You're friends with all of them. But their actual numbers of percentage of people that sign up and actually hit $1 million in revenue are ridiculously low. I mean, ridiculously low. I mean, maybe they'll say, oh, no, every one of them does. And then you start asking questions like, oh, yeah, but that person quit. Well, that means they didn't hit it, right? Or, oh, that person didn't put in the work. You're right. Most people that don't hit $1 million don't put in the work. The reality is very small. We had, of our 23 franchisees that hit $1 million, we had 16 of them, of the 23 franchises that came on, 16 of them hit $1 million within a year.
What were they doing before that?
Anywhere from 0 to 20,000 was, I think, our highest coming in.
No way. How'd you qualify people then?
Okay, so this is where you start getting into the next phase of why we left. All right, so here's the positives and the negatives with this. All right, I will tell you, if I had a partner probably like you, Tom, that was a real just seasoned business owners, I think we would have probably taken this to a stupid big business. But there's two faults that I have that actually compounded each other in a very negative way. I'll backstory this by saying this. When I hit 15 franchises and I felt that I was the smartest guy in the world, I had a call with Michael Gerber. And we were sitting there chatting, and I was telling him all about my amazing, beautiful, crazy good system. And he asked the question, how are you bringing on new franchise? And I told him, man, we're going after agencies. They're doing 10 to 12,000, 15. They're now thinking about hiring. They're thinking about recruiting. And I'm giving them an option that's way better than any of these other options. And he smiles and keeps talking. And, I was like, Mike, what do you think? What can we do? And we were talking about doing a book together, talking about a lot of things. And he said, JC, just so you know, and I'm on record, this will fail. And I go, well, okay. Well, obviously, you're 89 years old and you're probably going to die soon. And you just don't know what you're doing because I'm way smarter than you with all your world of experience. And he laughed and said, no, it will fail. And we talked through it a little bit and he just let me go fail. That's what he did. Here's where we went really wrong. And he ended up coming back to me and talking through this. Is he said, very simple. He said, tell me all the benefits of your system. So we went through, man, you don't have to think about the fulfillment. We do. You don't have to worry about the tech. We give you all that. You don't have to do, we give you all of these things that we do to serve the entrepreneurs. He said, great, awesome. That's cool. So why do entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs? Well, they don't want to be put in a box. They want to go do their own thing. He's like, right. Nobody becomes an entrepreneur because they're necessarily going like their system is better than your system per se. It's that their system is their system. That's why they become entrepreneurs. And he said, eventually, if your strategy is to take people that are entrepreneurs, they can do whatever they want, however they want, whenever they want, fail how they want, win how they want, and put them in a box where they can't update the system, where they can't decide to go to a different fulfillment. If they can't do X, Y, and Z, they will eventually be so frustrated in this little jail cell that you've got them in. And it doesn't matter how much they win, because that's not why they want to be an entrepreneur. If they want to do that, they'll go work for Wall Street. They can make way more money at a higher level on Wall Street than they can, X, Y, and Z. And so, and the second part of this is that when these crazy entrepreneurs have these crazy ideas, you're going to make it worse, JC. And how are you going to make it worse? Because you're going to actually listen to them. They're going to come up with a halfway decent idea and you're like, yeah, let's test that. And then when you choose not to do it or to do it, you're going to be screwed. He said, Chick-fil-A would never let an entrepreneur be an operator. In fact, that's why they call them operators. He said, you do not want entrepreneurs leading a system that's already perfected or even close to it. You want these operators. And that's what when we had, I remember the first time we started getting a lot of friction with one of our franchises, and I think I can say this, but great guy. You know what he was frustrated on, Tom? That before he became a franchise, he invested $7,000 to some automation company to build him an onboarding sequence that he had never used. And he felt that one was better than ours. We had onboarded thousands of clients by this point when we brought him on. He was doing 3 years in business. He never got above 20,000. Within 7 months of being with us, he was doing over $1 million. I mean, crushing it. And he wasn't happy. He ended up hiring a lawyer, trying to get out of the franchise, all that good stuff. And even we had to, go to mediation. I mean, franchise lawyers. And you could tell by listening, he was just frustrated. There wasn't like, oh, but your business has grown. Yeah, but you're making more money. Yeah, but but it could be better. It could greener on the. And so, and again, great guy. I wouldn't want to be put in a box either. So we started realizing these things of like, what does that look like for entrepreneurs to be put into a box? And then how do we, by nature, we're compounding this negative effect by empowering the entrepreneur within each person, right? Okay, yeah, let's try it. Let's test it. Let's, go from here and there. And of course, you can't, once you get to 20, 30, 40 franchises, you can't be testing everyone's idea. It causes more friction, right? So how do you navigate that?
So you identified the key problem that you're recruiting entrepreneurs that have their own ideas. You're putting entrepreneurs, not operators, into a box. They want you to implement and test their ideas, and you're not giving them freedom to do that. And so a fork in the road comes. One fork would be, okay, then recruit, train, indoctrinate different operators on your business model that are salespeople that will follow this, and you give them other ways to gamify. I mean, if I own one Wendy's store or Subway or whatever, my gamification that they train me on is, here's how you take over a region, here's how you get more stores, here's how the financial ladder works, and this is our operating manuals, but this is as an entrepreneur operator, this is the way you play the game bigger. So that's one route, but you flip to a new business model. And so can we jump to your business model and share that with me?
Yeah. So now we've got to have a 2 framework going, right? We still have a little bit of the franchise model. We weeded out and got really good clear on what we wanted there. And the other side now that we're really heavily focused on is we want to be the growth engine for companies. And so, you and I are both in that M&A world. You've been in it longer than me, but I'm taking that down a step to my agency world and go, okay, how do I can charge, $2,000 to $10,000 for marketing, or I can own the other side of the fence and charge the same amount of money, but get the profits on the other side as well. And so we've started going different types of profit sharing, phantom equity, these types of things with bigger companies in order to go, okay, we're going to fully be their growth engine on this side. What we're finding is, and again, there's the 2 models. You can be the Walmart and get a small chunk and you need to scale like crazy, or you can go a lot smaller in terms of your client count and have a lot higher margins and go deeper into each, client. And so we've been slowly transitioning this way. Even in our franchise model, as I said, I only got $6.99 to serve that client SEO. Our franchises ran at about 35 to 40% margins if they were charging the right amount, where we were running at 10 to 15. well, I just go direct consumer and I can get the other side of this. So we've been really focused on maximizing profitability and using it as an anchor to do M&A deals on the other side.
So talk to me what that means, M&A deals on the other side.
So we're working on one deal right now. It's a SaaS company that they are hella good at what they do. I mean, just really good at what they do. But like us in our early days, they've just been focused on the product. They don't have a single marketer, a single salesperson, a single whatever the case may be, and they're looking to add us in. Well, most agencies were offering, $2,000 to $5,000, and we'll come in and do your X, Y, and Z. What we're offering is it's $5,000 to $10,000, plus we want 20%. Or in a couple of cases, we're working on one deal right now where we're trying to buy literally 100% of the company. It's profiting 20 or 30 grand. I can owner finance that out or use an SBA loan to finance that out. Now I've got a company that's profiting 20 as well as paying me the management fee. So we're focused more on those type of deals, and we're focused on two sectors. From a Phantom standpoint and a Rev-Share standpoint, we're focused on coaches, because obviously that's a world that we understand pretty well, like influencers, coaches, people with like masterminds and programs and things of this nature. Then we're focused on the home service world. We know, that's what I was raised in, was the home service side. And then we've actually got a couple of different deals with authorship. So I'm really curious about this like generation right now that's dying and retiring that has these amazing books like the John Maxwell's of the world, the Gary Chapman's of the world. Like, what are they? Who's taking over their book and then taking that to the next level? Is it even possible? So we're doing a lot of work in that area.
Okay, so we're going to take a step back and to really understand and share the model for people that are just coming in. So there's one model, the first model, which is white label. I'm going out to existing businesses and say, if you need to do SEO, if you need creative, if you need to do CRO, it doesn't really matter, Shopify build-outs. Here's the price. We're your back end. The client never knows who we are. We charge, you make a margin on it. Great. And we offer incredible services. Model two you pivot into is, guess what? You have a small and you're dealing with really early stage small agencies. You're not making deals with larger ones. We're dealing with smaller agency, which is a really interesting discussion between $5,000 to $20,000, and then $0 to $20,000. And you're saying you basically will be the front end. You're going to be Hite. You're an agency to buy. You're called Hite. I don't know. You have no geographic restrictions. You're just Hite, and you just go out and get as many clients as you can. And don't worry, we'll handle all the back end. We take all your headache off. And you're basically you and your team are the relationship management until we get in the front end, and therefore you can scale indefinitely. And here's the economics of that. Okay, now, and the services that they offered were under Hite was clearly digital, basically advertising services. Okay, digital advertising marketing services. Now, model number three, and what is a little confusing is you started with saying the next deal you're doing is a SaaS company. Okay, well, are you getting equity in different types of businesses, or are you focusing on and buying agencies?
Yeah, forgive me. I'll clarify. We are focused more on direct to consumer, but instead of just charging a management fee, our real goal is to focus on gaining equity or some type of rev share on the back end as well, which allows us to have a higher level of service in those businesses.
Well, I'm going to keep on drilling this down to make sure that anyone who's listening is very clear on this. You're basically growing your business by going directly after accounts. You bought some of your franchises back, and your goal in your business model is to charge your fee for service, plus you're getting them a lot more extra to drive their business, to drive their sales and revenue, by getting a rev share in the business, a profit share in that business, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What type of clients are you looking for that would do this type of deal structure?
Yeah. So you've got to be at $1 million in revenue, and they've got to be really good at what they do and just not know the sales and growth side, which is where we come in. So we're looking at companies that have a proven methodology. We're not looking for, I got this startup, or I'm pre-revenue, or man, I just hit $3,000 in monthly revenue. We're looking for people that already have a system that need the gasoline on the fire, right? That we can come in and do ads to scale the business really quick. They already have operationally kind of what they want. So, and again, we're looking at a home service sector, which we really like. Those are plug and play for us. We're looking at personalities that are trying to exit their career that have like groups, so like Zig Ziglar and the John Maxwell's and the Dr. Gary Chapman's, like those people of the world. What does their legacy look like? There's a lot of opportunity there. We see a group that no one's going after. And then the third sector is these SaaS companies, agency companies that are more mergers for us than separate business units, right?
Give me an example if you can, hypothetically, or you can do one that you've already acquired. So
yeah, we got an agency right now that we're looking at in Arkansas. They're doing $4 million in revenue, and we can take them over and cut their most of their expenses by integrating with Hite. And we'll buy an agency that's doing, let's just say 5% at the bottom because they're just not running efficiently and they've grown like crazy. And we'll pay for that agency off of that EBITDA, but within 2 months, we'll increase that EBITDA on that portfolio to 25%, right? And so we immediately gain margin in it.
So that's very clear. And what are the typical, so I have a $4 million agency doing, I guess, $200,000, 5% margin on that. So it's pretty tough right there, right? And then, so what is the typical deal structure you do with that?
As everything's different depending on what they want. Are they looking for some type of cash? Are they looking for a second bite at the apple later? Do they need to, do they want to, we've even done some where they're Rev-Share. Like, hey, you got a portfolio, I'll give you 5% of you're making 5% profits right now. I'll give you 5% on this portfolio for as long as you want. You don't have to do a thing, right? So everything, as the structure is the most important thing, probably more than the price, point.
Sad that we're out of time because I want to go so deep into two different areas. One is if you were to build out a franchise model for again, or you were a strategic advisor on the board of a company, what would that look like and how could they set them up for success and what is the upside on that? And the other conversation is a really interesting one because most agency owners are really fascinated by the idea of getting equity and profits interest in their clients. It's a significant opportunity while you scale your core business. And especially, and the third is this business of basically acquiring agencies where you have the back end, which I love that model because there's a significant opportunities that are out there, especially with people that have nice sized agency and they're tired and they're low margin and they've been on the hamster wheel for too long. So we'll cover that another time. But here's the exciting thing is you'll be with us at our next event, which is DealCon. Every 6 months, I get the privilege of curating 100 plus entrepreneurs, CEOs that come together and we get to talk about M&A for 2.5 days, get incredible speakers, and it's February 24th to 26th in Nashville. Excited that you're joining us, and we'll have a chance to really go deep, and we'll probably, I'm looking forward to maybe doing a fireside chat session where we take what we did and we just go deep on there, and hopefully Karen will be joining us with you. If she will be magic on that. Your gift, I appreciate every time we have a call and looking forward to hanging out and then giving you the opportunity to meet some really interesting people. What I believe is there might be some deals in that room and some partnerships in the room for you because we have some people that are looking for a different path and different exits. And a lot of people are looking there to understand different deal playbooks and acquisition playbooks.
Love it. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun event for sure.
Great. JC, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, brother.